says it's live. Okay. I'm just checking. Hi, everyone, if you can see us. We're just making sure that this is actually working.
I'm
Okay, we're
refreshing.
on.
We're
We are
on. Hello,
on. We
everyone.
did it. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our brand new little offering here in the Success Codex group. I am Ankhara Rose. I am the creator of the Success Codex. You probably know that already. How could you not know that? You're here. You've been in my world for a while. And this is the lovely Katy. Katy, I feel like I've been mispronouncing your last name. Is it Davis or Davies?
I think it's supposed to be Davies, but I say Davis.
Okay. This is Katy Davis. I love her. She's amazing. She's a certified success codex specialist and a good friend of mine and absolutely brilliant. And, we talk all the time and we both really have a passion for helping really empower the people who dive into the success codex and empowering them to use it and apply it in their actual business, in their leadership, so that you can actually get results with it. And so when, we've been kind of, I don't know, dreaming together what a collaboration in here might look like. And this is what we came up with, because I think that for both of us, we know, here's how I want to put it, right? As entrepreneurs, we do an awful lot of working on ourselves and working on our business. And it makes sense, right? I'm not saying don't do that, but it does put a lot of pressure on you and a lot of pressure on your business. And in the meantime, behind the scenes, or maybe not behind the scenes, but all around us, are these beautiful, influential energies. And they're waves of energy. And when we can catch those waves, it helps us and our business to get into more ease and more flow. And that's really what these transits are all about. I mean, you don't have to add anything, Katy, but I wanted to give you space because I dove right in.
No, I think it's like I say, it's trying to make this not just information, but something that we can work with because I've looked at the transits for the last few years and I sort of try and do it for a bit and then I don't. And it's just trying to make it accessible, easy, makes sense, straightforward. Here you go. And you put together some great little questions for everybody of like how to actually use it. So we want it to be easy, straightforward, tangible, usable, everything you're all about anyway.
Definitely, that's the name of the game, right? Because, sometimes any of these systems can become a little bit convoluted and esoteric and beautiful, inspiring. But if they're complicated and it's not clear how to apply them, again, we don't get to reap the benefits of working with that energy that is available to us. And so the way that we're going to do this is we're going to come in here once a month and we're going to share with you all of the transits of this month. Now, we decided to do this a little bit late, so we're actually past that first transit. We are going to talk about it anyway, just for posterity. But what we'll do is we'll introduce the key code that the sun is in, and we'll talk a little bit about what the heck a transit is in just a moment, but I want to give you this overview. We'll talk about each key code that's going to come up, when it's going to come up in the month. We'll talk about what energy it really brings, what challenges it brings, and also we're just going to give a few simple ideas about how to begin to weave it into your business. And then that's it. We're just going to go through all of them. We will be periodically stopping. So probably after each key code, we're going to come in. We're going to read the comments in case you guys have any questions. Hopefully we'll be able to see them. I've got my phone here, but you never know. Do you, you're
I
muted.
can't actually see us in the Facebook group on my phone. It's pinging up and I can't see it.
You can't see it on your phone. Uh-oh.
No, it keeps pinging up and then going.
Oh,
So
and
I
I
just
didn't
want
hit
to
record,
check
by the way.
before we dive in.
I have 5 people watching.
Okay, well, my phone will not tell me that anything's happening. So the comments is going to be down to you. I will try and see if it
Okay.
pops up.
So to anyone who's watching, I would love to just, can you comment and let us know if you can see us? I see Ruth is watching with us. Hi, Ruth. So, these first beginning steps are always a little bit clunky, but we're so glad that you're here. Thanks for your flexibility for humoring us here. Um, yeah, let's hope. I'm not seeing any other, I don't know. It says you're here. Let me just check one more thing and then we can dive in. Oh, Matthew. Matthew's here. Okay, you can see. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you. Oh, I'm kissing my phone. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Kiss to you. Regina's here. Hi, my friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. Should we dive in? Anything else before we dive into this?
No, you've said it all. Let's go.
Okay, beautiful. So, what are the transits? What the heck are the transits anyway? Now, if you have ever seen an astrology wheel or you've seen the human design rave with all of the gates all around they go all around the perimeter of that circle. We can think of that kind of like a map of the sky. And what's moving around that map at any given moment are different celestial bodies, planets. Sometimes you get a little, I was going to call it a steroid, not a steroid, an asteroid. No, there's no steroids in our constellation. But the most powerful of all of the celestial beings, all of the celestial, I'm blanking on my words, all the things floating through the universe is the sun. And here's how I like to think about it. When you think of our universe in general, which planet has the largest mass and the biggest magnitude? Right? In our solar system, it is the sun. It does have the greatest influence on us. And so what that circle is essentially a calendar. And every 5 to 6 days, the sun moves around that calendar. And each, it's got these little sections that are the gates, or in the Success Codex, we call them the key codes. And the sun enters that key code. And what it does, you can almost think of the sun as this bright light. It shines a light. It activates the energy of that key code, not just for you, not just for me, not just for Katy, but for the whole collective. So we collectively, we're usually not conscious of it, but what we're doing is bringing some consciousness to it. But we collectively are all experiencing and having this new energy activated within us every 5 to 6 days. So I mentioned this earlier, but this is why it's so important to at least begin to get some awareness about this energy that's happening in the bigger picture. It's a collective force. It's a collective wave. And for so many of us, like I said, we're trucking along in our business and trying to make things work and growing ourselves and healing ourselves. And it can be very insular. We can have those blinders on, but there is an energy that we can catch that wave and we can utilize and leverage and work with, co-create with the energy that's available to us. And when we do that, the reason that I say, well, that brings more ease into our business is because you're working with what's already there. You're not going against the current. You're not ignoring the current. You're moving with the current. And part of your ability to really effectively move with that current is also understanding the shadow or the out of alignment cues that are coming up for the collective during those 5 to 6 days as well. I've been looking at this stuff for a long time. I find, my personal shadows, my personal fears, my personal limiting beliefs get activated every few days. And when I really stop to look at oh, isn't that interesting that this piece of control is coming up, or I just feel like tearing everything down. And then you look at the out of alignment cue of the current transit and you're like, oh my gosh. And if you give in to that, you're sabotaging yourself. You're just making it harder for you to create some success. So that's a little bit of context.
I think it's also, I notice, if you are aware of the patterns, not only for yourself, if you can see someone close to you, or maybe have a client or someone in your world, and you can see the pattern playing out in their world, you can kind of catch them and help them. Even if they might not know anything about human design or transits or the codex, you can kind of think, I can spot this kind of pattern playing out for them, and you can kind of gently ask the right questions and maybe guide someone else as well.
Absolutely. And I know that many of the people who are watching live, hi who's live and hi who's not live, hi who's on the replay. We're working with clients in lots of different capacities. I know that most of the people in my world are service providers of some sort. And so absolutely, what a great, like, I love that angle of we as leaders can use the knowledge of this is the energy, this is what's in the collective, and make some connections for our clients. And by the way, like you said, you don't even have to mention Keycode.
Hmm.
People will just
Yeah.
be like, wow, how do you know that? And be like,
How do you know
I
that?
just
Like,
know. What can I say? It's just who I am.
is this
So
how your wobble is playing out at the
right.
moment? Like, oh, no.
I feel like there's something bubbling in the collective. Right. Yes. So, sound good? I hope that sounds good. Give me a yes in the comments if that sounds good. We had a question of I can't say the whole time. Will this be a replay? This will be posted in our Success Codex Facebook group. We'll create a guide section for it. So,
Yes.
yeah, so you will be able to come back, but if you are here live and you have a question, we will be able to answer it. So,
Okay.
all right, are we ready to share screen and dive into some slides and do all
Yeah.
that kind of good stuff?
All the good stuff.
Alrighty. Here we are, friends. And let's start by looking at these transits. Let me make sure that's up on the screen. It is, but I don't see. So Katie, stay unmuted because I think it will show you on the top corner because I think we can only see me for now. Okay, so February transits. So again, for the month of February, really for every month, we've got 5 to 6, usually it's like 5 to 6 different key codes that the sun can enter. And so what we've done is we've kind of put the dates here. So what you can do if you've got a little calendar in front of you or you want to jot down any notes, you can do a quick little February 1st, key code 13, February 7th, key code 49, right? And you can use that to kind of help keep you on track. You can even do it as little phone reminders if that's something that you're interested in. But so the key codes that we're going to be going over in this call today are listening, that's key code 13, revolution, which is key code 49, passion, which is key code 30, freedom, which is key code 55, and connection, which is key code 37. So, even if we take like a little bit of a step back and we just think through these words, listening, revolution, passion, freedom, connection, you can kind of feel, especially with the revolution, passion, freedom, like there's like a real, I don't know, it's like a little bit bubbly, a little bit not quite fiery, but there's something that gets stirred up here. And when I look at the listening and the connection piece, it feels like listening is this beautiful invitation into this energy. And what's it all in service of? Well, it's in service of our relationships. And my friends, we're in relationship with everything in the world. Okay. So uh-oh. Yes. Okay, perfect. I thought I had the wrong slide up. Okay, so we're going to start. Katie, can you see it and everything?
I can see it. We're all good.
Okay, beautiful. So, as I mentioned, this transit actually ended already. We're already in the next one. But I think it's important to have it at the beginning and understand that this is all part of the energy of February. So key code 13, it has the genius of listening. And you can see up here in the corner, right? It's listening. And the archetype is the listener, the one who listens. When you are aligned with this key code, you will be deeply receptive. And when you're out of alignment, you will be closed off, right? So the phrase that we kind of go by here for this key code is my key to success is gathering wisdom by empathically listening to the experience of others. I think that sometimes in a world that's so focused on doing and forcing and getting things done and achieving, we can downplay the importance of listening. But listening is absolutely essential for our leadership, for our success, and for us to really be able to be present enough to respond to what is happening around us in meaningful ways. In the context of the Success Codex, we're really opening up, right? So from February 1st to 6th, now you might be able to look back and be like, oh yeah, I totally see that. Or, maybe you don't see it because you weren't aware of it. But we do want to pause and listen. We want to listen to our clients, our audience, our peers, ourselves. We can sit back and tune into the collective listening. And we want to be able to remain open and receptive enough that we're even willing to hear opinions and perspectives that might threaten our current state of beliefs. Because the purpose of listening is not to wait your turn to make your point. The purpose of listening is the openness and the receptivity and the idea that maybe there's something that I don't yet know that might serve me. I'll pause here. Yeah.
The thing I love about this is, yes, we're looking at this collectively about the transits, because that is the energy that might be playing out. So we can pay attention and think, am I having it, or maybe last week, am I having a conversation with someone a little bit close to this? But regardless of the transit energy, it's just really good questions to ask and really good awareness to have, which is why I love all of this, because it's just creating such good awareness of things that we should all be working towards anyway.
So true, right? Like, who couldn't use more listening? Especially when we're in our business and we're like, I gotta make it work. How do I make my business work? We're not listening. We're seeking, we're trying, we're forcing, we're like grasping, but that's so different. Because listening requires trust, it requires faith that that first of all, answers exist, and maybe they are inside, but also maybe something outside of me can also help to inform my vision, my understanding, and where I'm going. And so the guiding question with Keycode 13 is, when you're thinking about in your business and in your life, it's what wisdom do I have about this that I have witnessed and learned from others? So it can be about something that you're sharing in your business, something that you teach, something that you want to teach, something that you're seeing. But can you notice how there's there's an openness and a reflectiveness that's also alive here in this key code, right? So, and I say here, activate success by listening with an open heart. And then after you listen, doesn't have to be right away. You can let it integrate and let it settle. But then you're going to apply that wisdom that you've received. But on the other side, the way that we block ourselves from accessing this beautiful frequency, right? This out of alignment cue of closed, block success by refusing to hear perspectives that challenge your beliefs. If you're sure you're right, you're probably not going to be listening. I always like to say, whatever I'm right about, I'm 50% wrong about. And that, that's my little reminder, like not, there are certain things that I'm like, yeah, I'm right about. But ultimately, I know that there are other perspectives, right? Looking at things from a different angle, I might be wrong. And it's not about being right with this key code. It's about receiving what you need in the moment. So let's talk about how to actually apply it. And so we talked about this just a little bit. And guys, this is really just like, it's one tip. It's one simple way that you can begin to work with this energy. And it's this simple, like listen before you act or choose or post or do. Like really think about that. How often we're like, I got the impulse, I'm going to just go. I'm a big, like, I got the idea, I'm going to initiate, I'm going to go. But what if just for, while you're working with this energy, and I know it already ended, but it's important for all of us anyway. What if before you posted, you paused and you tuned in and you listened to yourself, right? Or you, and maybe you can read your audience, maybe you can't. Maybe it's a little bit psychic, maybe you're making it up, right? But tuning in and thinking like, what does my audience need today? Or what's the world? What's happening in the world? What is this informing me? Right? Because what this does is, yeah, you're allowing what you hear to inform how you move and what you share. And that makes what you share more relevant, relevant to those who you're communicating with. I don't know if you have anything that you want to add here.
No, I just saw a question from Matthew saying he can feel his, cycles going in every few days. Do you think the transits are an explanation for this? So,
Definitely could. Such a good
yes.
question. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely I actually think going back to the transits as a whole, I have a little theory, I don't know what you think, that I have a lot of definition in my chart. And so the things that I notice the most when they impact me are when it creates a channel and kind of defines a center that I don't always have as well.
Mhm.
So I think from my personal observation, I think that how people experience the transits can often be based on how it interacts with their chart as well.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was going to say. When you take a look at your human design, right? So now we're crossing from Success Codex to human design, right? But when you take a look at your human design and you find Keycode 13, which it's in the Identity Center, must be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the Identity Center, and you look at the channel that it connects to, or you look at whatever gate is across from that, right? Like if you don't have key code 13 during that transit, you have access to its energy. It becomes defined for you essentially. And so you get to feel the energy of that whole channel. I can't remember the channel that it's across. I don't have
So it's
any of my notes here.
33. It's
It is
33. So
33.
I have the 33. So when 13 is the transit, it is like activating
Yeah,
more than just the 13, it's activating the channel. So if you really start leaning into the transits, that's what you can actually start to look at is not just the transit, but how does it impact your chart
your
and does
personal
it
chart.
create an extra thing?
Yeah, and Katie was with me. We did a year-long Wealth by the Transits journey last year, and that was one of the things that I think we all kind of agreed on. When a key code that was actively in transit completed a channel and often defined a set, not maybe not for you because you have a very defined chart, but for me, especially when it all of a sudden I had a defined center through that channel, I really, really felt the energy. So, in short, Matthew, yes. And then the other thing I want to say is the sun is not the only planet that's in transit. We're not going to go into all of them, but Venus, Mercury, every single planet has a different orbit and they move at different times. The moon, I think, is like, is it a day and a half? Is the
Yeah, I
cycle?
have one client who we don't know what time she was born, and through there's three different moons
Mhm.
across her chart. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, so maybe it's like a third of a day or something like that. So we are all like we're all influenced by so much we can't see. And we have to remember, like, our brain only processes like less than 5% of what it receives. And we are all sensitive beings. Like, whether or not you identify as sensitive, we are being impacted by the energy around us. So I am a big believer that this energy, the energy of the transits does have an impact on us. Okay, so let's move on to the current transit that we are all experiencing right now. So, just so you know, the start date it's an approximation depending on where you are in the country. It might start a little bit earlier or a little bit later. I tried to get like be as accurate as I can, but essentially, I'm pretty sure that all of us are at this point in Key Code 49, which is the genius of revolution. Now, I mean, you can look around the world and you can see this. This is alive, right? We're gonna like after we talk through this a little bit, I think you'll also see like, oh, okay, this energy is here. But just like think about listening. Think about what's been going on. I'm not gonna get into the politics of it. Think about how we're all, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we're doing the best job listening. I think we're doing a really good job at forming opinions. So, the shadow of these key codes can also be alive in the collective. But let's talk about revolution. So, the genius of revolution is really all about, having something that you believe in so deeply that you're willing to tear down what is not serving it and rebuild towards the thing that you desire. That's really what it's about. That's what a revolution is. Revolution is fighting against tyranny, right? And I'm not talking about external tyranny. I'm talking about internal tyranny. I'm talking about the rules that you've made up in your own life, about your own business, about what it takes to be successful. I'm talking about the industry that you're a part of, what you think is working, what you think isn't. I know Katie and I talk a lot about marketing, right? Like marketing trends. Like, are you, like, what's the opposite of a revolution? I think it's the status quo, like just business as usual, which often includes not standing up for the things that you deeply care about. This key code is about creating change, right? And it says here, my key to success is courageously creating change that all will benefit from. When you're the archetype is the revolutionary, right? So think of someone who's revolutionary. I'm sure in a movie, or maybe you know someone, maybe you are that someone who has this kind of a revolutionary spirit. Like there's a little bit of visionary in there, but there's also like, I'm willing to, it's not always a fight, but I think that's the closest word. Like I'm willing to fight for what I believe in. I'm willing to stand up for what I know is right. And I'm willing to be the one to say, that's not working. That's taking us further away from where we want to be. When you're in alignment with this, you will be rousing, right? And so this is an energy that like you're stirring yourself up, you're stirring your clients up, you're stirring your business up, your business structure. But when you're out of alignment, the way that I like to think about destructive is it's like I want to break everything down, but it's not being responsible for, first of all, for like even breaking it down with a purpose. It's just like I just want to stir things up. And then the other side of it is breaking things down without a vision or without the willingness to rebuild. It causes destruction without the revolution, without the positive change that it's meant to come on the other side of this.
I was talking about this with my membership today, and just to like add in a little layer, it's in this gate is in the emotional solar plexus. So it's kind of like an emotionally driven thing, but we need to also make sure that we are letting the kind of emotion drive us in the right way and we're not reacting to an emotion. And so with anything emotional, you got the waves and the highs and the lows. So it is potentially having this kind of, if it's rousing is this emotional piece, but
Mm.
making sure that we're not reacting to something and we really are, doing it from the right place,
Yeah.
not just reacting.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Because we get stirred up, we get fired up about things that we're into or that things that we believe in. And there's opportunity, right? It's almost like when you think about how listening can lead into this, right? Like how they relate to each other. Okay, I've got this fire, but let me tune in. What did I learn from this last transit? Ah, okay. I learned to just kind of pause and to really tune in. Is this really the best way? Let me listen to myself. Let me listen. Is this really where we need to go? and to bring that in so that it's not just this, like, I love the way you put it, Katie, this emotional reaction, but that it has the discernment and the intention behind it of like, what are we bringing it to? Right? So you activate success by willing to burn it all down for your noble cause, channeling your power into change with purpose. Your noble cause could be, I want to serve more people in my business. And what you are burning down, what you might be willing to burn down is like, I'm ready to burn down my Instagram account. I mean, it's like it can be that tangible, right? But I think what it requires is getting clear on what your values are. What do you care about? Like, and what does integrity mean to you? This is like, to me, the revolution without this integrity piece, it's just a mess. So if you want to be congruent with what you're putting out there, let me go to this next. I'll read this quickly, right? As opposed to block success by being destructive without a vision or instigating chaos for its own sake, right? But let's talk about this. So how do we apply it, right? You're reconnecting to why. Why do you care about that? What's your mission? What's your dream? What are you, or what does your work a stand for? And then we're making sure that the things that you're doing in your business, the systems, the structures, the behaviors, the way you're showing up is congruent with that. So you ask yourself, am I connected to my mission and my offers? In my marketing, in my messaging? Am I being the kind of person, right? This is the real question. Am I being the kind of person that I want to be? Or am I compromising those things in service of whatever, in service of what I've been taught by the industry? And if you notice that you're not congruent there, well, maybe it's time for a revolution. And this is a really good week to be like, no, I'm going to be a stand for what I believe. I'm going to be the person who I want to be. So yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add there, but let's go to the comments. Does anyone have any questions about this? Any comments? Do you have Keycode 49? If you do, let us know. Everyone I know who has 49 in their son, I would probably have labeled a revolutionary even without knowing their Success
really?
Codex.
Um, yeah, interestingly for these transits, I only have one out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
The last one that we're going to get to, I don't. So I'm kind of looking at them like, how are these showing up for me?
Yeah, and it's funny because it's actually the same for me. I don't have any of them. I don't have any of them,
Oh, you
right?
don't.
I have a totally open emotional solar plex, and a bunch of these are there, right? So, um, yeah, and it's true. Like, I mean, I wouldn't call myself a revolutionary, but
No, neither would I. Not me either. I don't. But I think I probably can be, but I wouldn't say it's one of my dominant, most present energies.
exactly. But I will say that this morning, wasn't even thinking about the transits, but I did wake up. And one of the first things that kind of came to my mind after I had my sip of coffee was, it was something along the lines of like, is this really what I want to do? Like, is this really how I want to do it? Like a piece of my business. And it's a question I ask myself a lot, but there's a fire in my belly about doing it the way that I deeply care about. I have a Substack that nobody knows about, and I started it under under one, like I started a publication under one topic, and my Substack just kind of started to grow. And then I was like, I'm changing that. And this morning I changed it. I changed the name. I changed the whole topic. And of course, right, I'm like, oh, revolution. That wasn't serving. That's not really what I want to represent me anymore. I want to bring something else out.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, let's move on. Keycode 30, which is going to start next week. I guess that's next week on the, oh wait, Sheila said, I have the complete channel 1949. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm sure as you're watching, whether replay or live, you'll have some of these, right? So February 13th to 17th is Passion, Keycode 30. Now, I want to say this about this genius. Passion isn't always loud and it's not always fiery and it's not always in your face. Sometimes passion is nice and steady and calm and deep and quiet, and it just moves you beneath the surface. You know, so we think of passion, we think of romance, and we think of like just this like very like visceral feeling. But sometimes I think it's like as simple as like I'm enthusiastic and excited and like deeply interested in something. Like it doesn't have to be this outward expression of it. The key to this key code is allowing yourself to be excited about what you're excited about. It's allowing yourself to access that passion because there are some, the out of alignment cue is denying here. It's denying. It's not letting yourself feel or express or admit what you actually are passionate about. And I'll just say, like, in the context of business, how often are we going down one route because we think that's the money making route, but our passion is actually over here? We're like, what I'd really like to do, I wouldn't dare. But what I'd really like to do is I want to do this thing over here. Now, I'm not saying you have to blow up your business, right? But this transit will be a beautiful time for you to prioritize anything that you feel enthusiastic, interested, excited, and passionate about. Anything. I don't care if it's hot chocolate. Okay? I don't care if it's I'm deeply passionate about trees. Go hug a tree, but prioritize it. Okay? Give yourself the permission to follow this passion in some way, shape, or form. So it says here, my key to success is following my passion and what lights me up. And the guiding question is, how can I bring my passion to this? So what does that mean? Well, you're going to be doing a lot of things during February 13th to the 17th. I don't know who you are or what you do, but I know you'll be doing a lot of things. And so sometimes some of those things are going to be boring. They're going to be basic. You're going to not be enthusiastic about them. Can you find a way to weave some of your passion in? Can you bring a little new perspective in? Can you change the way you do it? Because you will have access to that energy during that time. Okay, so I'll pause. Sorry, I get very enthusiastic and passionate when I talk about the key codes. So Katie, please interrupt me. Please interrupt
Oh,
me.
I'm practicing my listening skills. I love listening. I was just it's picking up on something you said. Is I think, like we said at the beginning, this month we had the idea and we started it a little bit late, but in future ones of these, we're going to hopefully do all of them in advance. But when you said allowing yourself to be to follow this passion and allowing ourselves, because we do deny ourselves. So if we know this is coming up, we can catch ourselves, and that's the key to this is the working with it rather than like working against it. So hang on a minute, I know this is coming up, and keeping it in this awareness piece so that we don't do the denying rather than like realizing afterwards that it's too late and we've done it. So this is what we are hoping that this whole process is going to help people with, is actually having the awareness so that when you are really enthusiastic and passionate about something next week, you let yourself, you let it shine, you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so beautiful. Thank you for like kind of giving us that big picture reminder about how and why we're even using this energy. And kind of as you were talking, I was thinking like whoever's watching, I'd love to hear what's one thing you're passionate about. What's one thing that you're passionate about? Anything. I'm telling you, puppies, doesn't matter what it is. It could be like, toppling I don't know, toppling the government. Let's not do that. But you know what I'm saying. What are you passionate about? What do you care about? Let yourself lean into that.
And I think
Prioritize.
also with the whole entrepreneurial space, there can be, not always, but there can be a bit of pressure. What shall I talk about on my social media? What is going to impact and have the most resonance energetically is by letting yourself sort of follow these things if it is the energy that comes through. And so instead of again denying yourself something that you want to talk about on your social media, do it and see what happens. Do a little experiment. Borrow a little line three energy if it's not your natural thing, and
Borrow mine.
and play with it. And actually, energetically with everything, what we're trying to do is make everything feel easier. And we do get when we, or I notice personally, when I allow myself to kind of go with what feels natural, that is what gets the most interaction, regardless of what it is. It might be ridiculous. Like I did a whole post about repurposing my coffee plunger thing into a thing to make like lemon ginger honey, and everyone's like, oh wow, I never thought of that. And it's because I didn't deny myself. I was enthusiastic about something, I just went with it. And so yeah, it's really about letting yourself play out these energies in the in the higher way.
Right, and that's it, right? It is allowing, and to your point, I mean, we can use that energy to deny ourselves next week, right? So how do we want to use the energy, and the high expression or the or the blocked expression, right? And what happens when we deny ourselves? Well, we know what happens when we deny ourselves. We don't feel good. We lose energy. It's harder for us to show up. It's harder for us to serve. So let's just read through these quickly. Activate success by channeling your energy into what you feel passionate about. So again, this is prioritizing. It doesn't have to be in your business, but in your life. Connect to the energy anywhere, and it will help you bring it into your business. Block success by ignoring your desires and cutting yourself off from your emotions and your passion. So and this is, exactly what we were saying. I said, prioritize your passion, BTS, behind the scenes and in your business, right? And for those of us, myself included, for a very long time, who felt very disconnected from my desires, not my passions, but like a little bit of this. I think that just being transparent, have had a long history of being afraid that if I really go for something, I'm going to lose it, right? That's childhood wounding. And so it was hard for me to connect to my passion for a long time. It's hard for me to really give myself over to it. So I said, you may need to connect to whatever your passion is if it's not front of mind, right? So give yourself some time. What do I care about? Like, make it that simple. What do I care about? And then one thing per day, right? Just tie in one thing per day that you're enthusiastic about. That's it. Bring it into, and you might say, all right, I just want to apply all of this in my content, or I just want to apply all of this in my leadership, right? Lots of different ways to do this. All right. If anyone has any comments, you can pop those in the chat. We are looking. I am looking. Can you see the comments?
I can see the comments.
Good. Yeah.
Yes, I haven't seen any new ones for 7 minutes.
Okay. That's all right, guys. You can listen passionately and passively. That's fine. All right. So you can always pop your comments in, and then we'll read them at the end. But let's keep going, right? Because we have two more for this month. February 18th to the 23rd. So you can mark down the 18th. We're tapping into freedom. We got listening, revolution, passion, and now freedom. Freedom, the archetype of the free spirit. When you are aligned, you will be expressive. And here's what I mean: freedom to express. I think that sometimes this key code is thought of as, I'm free to do whatever I want. I believe that this is more about freedom of like emotional expression. Okay. And the emotional freedom that comes with honoring, listening to, and expressing our feelings, right? This is also in the emotional solar plexus, right? So my key to success is creating abundance and fulfillment through my emotional freedom. So what does this require? It requires us to be willing, I hate to say it, but to allow ourselves to feel crappy. Because where we're not letting ourselves feel bad, we're capping off the other end. We're capping off the other end of the spectrum. So I always describe it like a pendulum. I'm not a good pendulum here. Okay, we got the pendulum. Pendulum's going to swing all the way over here. You pull the ball all the way to one side, it's going to swing all the way back. Positive emotions, negative emotions. If I'm not letting myself feel these negative emotions, I've just narrowed my window. Boop, boop, boop. Right? We want to be fully expressive. We want to be able to feel fully. That actually gives us the freedom to thrive. And so this will require compassion for ourselves, tenderness, willingness to listen, willingness to build it all down, willingness to not deny ourselves what we want, and deal with the feelings that come up. Stay with ourselves when those feelings come up, right? And with that, we do like come into this context of, again, it's like, what are the rules that have been created? And I do feel like a big part of this is like, what are the rules I've created for myself in what I can and can't express? What is acceptable? What's an acceptable way for me to be? And that's bull, because you being yourself is acceptable, right? We make that wrong. Now, when we take that and we do apply it to our business, it's an invitation of like, well, if I wasn't capped, what would I do? If those rules weren't there and I didn't feel this confined energy where I can't be myself, I can't express myself, I can't do what I want, lead what I want, lead how I want, offer what I want, right? That's what we're tapping into. So again, like, can you feel the connection between the previous? Like, that's what keeps on hitting me. It's like, do you see how freedom and revolution go together, and passion? And you see how none of it really works if we haven't tuned in and listened, right? Like, they all are building towards this one collective energy of, I am myself in my business, and I'm walking forward and leading in congruence with my values. So here, similar to passion, right? Activate success by giving yourself permission to follow what feels fulfilling, and block success by believing, and it is a belief, it is a choice, that you're not free to express or be yourself, right? That's it. We have to make that choice sometimes.
I have a few clients with this Keycode in their chart, and it when like maybe an external circumstance or something comes along, because again, like you said, it's in the emotional solar plexus. It's a feeling, and I do find that when that out of alignment cue, like that feeling trapped, that feeling confined, it tends to be, for the people that I know have this in their chart, it tends to be very strong, and it shows up very strongly. And like you said, then there is that kind of element of, okay, well, how can they work with it? And you mentioned, like, sort of, have you put yourself in a box, or have you accidentally trapped yourself? And I think all of this work, I mention that quite a lot when I talk to people, is trying to help people uncover the layers that either have externally been put on themselves, or like you said, we've done it to ourselves
Yeah.
inadvertently, no judgment, whatever's happened, but it's like kind of breaking free of whether we have accidentally confined ourselves, or, conditioning and different things have. But the people I know with this, I feel that they feel it really strongly when it moves into the out of alignment. It like kind of comes in quite strong for them.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine, right? And I'm sure that we've all experienced a time where we feel like I can't do this thing that I want. And, I always come back to I think that at the heart of our business, for many of us, we actually became entrepreneurs because we want freedom. Like, I feel like freedom is a really strong driving force for entrepreneurs that would make us go through this crazy ride, this crazy journey of being an entrepreneur where you're working, hard, learning all these things, and so much counts on yourself. Um, but ultimately, I think the freedom is a choice, because freedom is a feeling. And when you really tune into, Like, even in those moments where you're like, I can't, you probably can, right? Like, it feels like we can't in those moments. But we can use this as a reminder, right? It's like, you can. Freedom is available to all of us. You know, it's not, and by the way, it's not just during this transit. We all have access to this. We make this choice and we say, like, really, like right now, you can close your eyes. I'm sure I'll invite you to do it. We'll do it for 30 seconds. Think, I want you to feel freedom in your body. Like, notice what happens in your body when you connect to the feeling of freedom, right? You can open your eyes again. Right? You can bring that into that job that you hate. You can bring that feeling of freedom into that decision that you're going to make. And no, you still might not make it. You still might stay in that job. But we can integrate that. We can change our whole experience of something by bringing this energy into it. Like, this is a really powerful, it's a very, very powerful key code. And by the way, it's also part of the 2027 mutation, the new cross, the cross of the sleeping phoenix. 55 is going to be alive for all of us. So this is one to, really pay attention to how you feel with it. During the 18th to the 23rd, feel what it feels like. See how masterful you can become with, when you feel constricted, pulling that feeling of freedom into your body and making moves from that place, not from victimhood, right? Not from, I don't have choices. So I thought, to apply this, we have to start with locating where you are constricted in your business. So write down all of the rules that you're following and give yourself permission to break at least one as an experiment. Where do you feel constricted? What are the rules that you're making up? Oh, I got to post 5 times a day. No, you don't. I have to get a mailing list. No, you don't. Oh, I got to go on podcast. You don't have to do anything. There's somebody out there running a business doing none of the things you believe that you need to do, and they're very successful, right? So it's time to break our own rules and give ourselves the gift of freedom.
I was actually, as you were saying all that just now, I suddenly had this light bulb moment of the time of year I decided to quit my job, become an entrepreneur. And it was, I'd taken some time off work to go and do a course. And I remember it being sort of at the end of January. And I remember going back to work after thinking, I just can't do this anymore. I just can't be here. This is wrong. And now I'm thinking, I mean, this was like back in 2013, but I'm thinking, wow. And then I'm thinking about the transits. It's like they are collectively maybe shining a light to help us to get out of these loops and to help us get out of things that we might normally not think of. Um, so yeah, as you were saying, I was like, the timing of that, this is exactly how I was feeling, what you were just describing. And it was about the same time, but 13 years ago.
But that's the whole thing, right? I love that example. And I find there's so many times where I'm like, why does everything feel like, ah? And then I look at the astrology, I'm like, oh, okay, it's not just me. There's, because we make so much about ourselves. But again, this energy, it's pulling us, it's calling us, it's moving us, it's helping us to evolve. By the way, it's doing that, to your point, whether we're aware of it or not. But when we have awareness, we can be consciously working with it. We can ride these waves. All right, my friends, we got one more, right? Yes, one more, which is Keycode. So on February 24th, the end of this month, Keycode 37, which is the genius of connection. The archetype is the friend. The alignment cue is caring. And the out of alignment cue is over giving. Katie, you said you have this one, right?
I do. It's my unconscious earth, so it's part of my my cross.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have this one, and I'm very familiar with the overgiving piece. Oh, I
Yeah,
was. I have the awareness itself helps with the moving through that bit.
it does. And Connection in and of itself is so essential for our survival as a species. And I'm not just talking our like getting food and water and shelter. I'm talking about our ability to thrive. So much relies on connection. I think I recently saw a study that I don't think it's such a new study, but they found that like the marker for longevity wasn't like you weren't a smoker and you ate healthy. It was your how strong of a social network you have actually increases your longevity when you have close relationships. And that's this is so important. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or service provider, connection has to be part of what you do. It doesn't matter if it's in your Success Codex or your human design or not. We're connecting, right? It is the energy of building relationships where everyone's thriving. And if you don't have clean and healthy boundaries, you might create a condition where other people are thriving at your own cost. And that's the difference between I care, I am contributing, I am here, I am, connecting versus I'm overgiving. And it is the classic, like, you gotta put on your mask, your emergency mask before you help someone else with theirs. We have to have healthy boundaries. We have to. So my key to success is creating safe and strong relationships, right? That's the whole name of the game, but built on deep connection and healthy boundaries. What I've seen with 37, and maybe, I don't know how you feel about this, Katie, is that you're great at creating relationships. It's just a matter of what's the quality of these relationships. It just comes down to like, are you keeping these boundaries? And one last thing I'll say is a boundary is not meant to keep other people out. A boundary is a claiming of your own standards, your own non-negotiables, like it's in service of protecting, nourishing, allowing your own energy to thrive. We get it twisted because it feels like we're pushing people out, but we're really taking a stand for ourselves with those boundaries.
Yeah, I think with this one, because I'm a line 4 as well, which kind of
Mm-hmm.
has a similar energetic theme. So it kind of echoes and goes together. Um, and I have this, I definitely place a lot of, don't know quite the right word, not importance on relationships, but that connection piece is definitely strong for me. Um, and I think definitely in the past, the healthy boundaries thing is the thing that I have struggled with. And like you said, it's not that you're pushing people away, but it can feel like that. And there is this mutual kind of there can be a resentment because if you go too far in and then it actually doesn't feel reciprocal, and that's my own fault. And that's the thing that I've learned is
Mm-hmm.
because if I do the overgiving thing, then I can feel resentful if I don't feel it's kind of, but that was me that did that. That's not
Yeah.
the other person's fault. Being a bit harsh, I kind of brought it up on myself. So now I have much greater awareness with all of this of like it's a strong and supportive it's a relationship. It's not a one-way thing. That's the whole point of this. It is this relationship that is a two-way thing, not yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a relationship. And your story is reminding me, and I don't have 37, right? But it's reminding me if I had have a friend who like at one point in our relationship, it was like a lot of this person calling me and I was just listening. And I was just listening, and it'd be an hour and a half, and it'd be 3 hours. And it was like, and I love this person dearly, right? And I realized I'm like, I'm getting very drained from this. And I was like, this isn't, I could have gone to the story of like, oh, they're taking up all my time, or, whatever we make up to try to justify our own discomfort. But right away, I was just like, well, how come I'm not sharing? Like, just start sharing instead of just listening, like, start sharing. And so I started to do that. And I really like, and it's never been a problem again, right? I'm still able to hold space for this person, and they're holding space for me as well. But it is our It is a bit, but see how I didn't say, hey, you're talking too much. It wasn't setting a boundary like that. It was bringing more balance to the relationship through my own
Mhm.
actions, which is what you're saying, right? It's like, yeah, well, I brought it on myself. And so if you bring it on yourself, you can take it away from yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So here, the guiding question is how can I give love and serve with healthy boundaries? So, great place to take stock is how are my boundaries with my clients? Am I letting the sessions go on multiple hours? Am I letting, like, are they texting me all times of the night and I'm responding at all times of the night? Um, I think that that's a really big one for us. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But activate success by creating and upholding healthy boundaries in relationships, and block success by being a martyr and over serving others, over giving. Here's what I mean by being a martyr. I know that's a little bit charged, but like you're not here to sacrifice your energy for other people. It doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve them. Like you supporting them at the cost of yourself is not a sustainable model. So, if anything, at the end of February, notice and maybe even ask yourself, how can I bring this relationship into more balance? But again, through your own action. Okay, so applying it. What I said is connect, 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 right? The key this week is human connection. So reach out to that client, that peer, that mentor, and the point is not conversion, it's connection, right? How many times, guys? How many times have you gotten a message, a DM from someone, and they're like, hey, how's it going? And you're like, good. Oh, tell me what you're up to. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this. And then they're like, so I've got this new program and I really want, and like, I think you'd be perfect for it. I don't have a problem with selling, okay, and people selling to me, but I do have a problem with false pretenses. So choose a relationship where you can connect genuinely without trying to get something from them. Okay? Like that is my invitation for you. Okay? Try that on. See how that feels for you. Okay? What happens there? Connection for the sake of connection. I will say, right, because I'm very big on Substack lately. I mean, not a big following, but I'm very into Substack lately. Substack feels completely different than Facebook and Instagram. It's a completely different animal. The connections there have been so incredibly genuine and supportive that it's really making me rethink even my understanding of this key code. And that's why I said the point is not conversion, it's connection. Because guess what's happened since I've made these connections in Substack? I've found people who I want to work with, people who I want to pay money to work with them. And they have not sold me on anything. We're having genuine back and forth. The power of relationship is it's unmatchable. Like nothing can match that.
I wonder if, like, I have a very strong aversion to, like you mentioned, when you get a message and I have quite a strong reaction when I think someone wants to talk to me and then they just want to sell me something. And I wonder if that's because of this gate, like, because I genuinely am wanting to connect with everybody. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with selling. And a lot of the people that I have worked with or I paid money to, it's not that they've not sold things, but it's the connection. For me, it's the connection I have to them
Yeah.
that then leads on to that. And so when I meet something that is not that, I have a very strong, I have quite a strong reaction to it. And like I said before, I think the purpose of these transits is it shines the light at any one point on this particular thing. So if there is someone in your world that maybe has connected to you for the wrong reasons during this time frame, you might find yourself noticing and it's shining a light on it just to help you to see the truth of maybe your connections. And so you might find yourself going, during
Yeah.
this time frame.
Oh yeah. I mean, and again, like just like you're saying, having awareness of these out of alignment cues and kind of the potential shadow energies, it does help us navigate what other people are doing around us as well, right? So it's easy to go into judgment and be like, oh, they're doing whatever. But then I don't know, somehow it gives me compassion. I'm like, well, we're all going through it, right? Oh, like, well, this is just the collective energy. I think it's easier to not take things personally, but it's also easier to recognize patterns from this as well. Like you'll start to see it. So that's kind of like another piece. It's like, even if you're not actively like, okay, I'm applying this in my business, you can still use this as a guidepost to notice how the energy is influencing as we go through, right? It's again like this, it's only going to make you stronger. It's only going to make you more connected, more relevant, um, like more able to respond when you're not, I don't know, in your own head or just stuck in your own human world, which, by the way, is very normal for us. Like, of course we are. We're humans. I'm going to stop my share so we can just come back. Hello. Hi. Hi, friends. We're no longer in a small little box. I don't think. The video is catching up.
It takes a while to catch up. I've got it on my other screen. It's like, no, we're still.
No, it's here. I'm like, no, we're still not there. We're learning. We're learning. Yeah. So, I know that this was, this is the beginning. As we continue to go through, I would say, like, I think the format will probably stay the same. Who knows how this will change over time? I'm assuming that we'll always kind of come on for around an hour. I think that this was a good amount of time, maybe a little bit more, an hour 15, but I think we'll probably cap it at that unless we have some incredibly profound thing that we land on that we have to go through. So let's maybe want to talk about some takeaways.
I was just gonna say before I forget it, what we'll also be doing in the group is as we go through the month, we'll just drop you little reminders. So although you've had the overview today, we are gonna help you to kind of just think, oh yeah, that was what they said.
Hmm.
It's now. So we're gonna drop a few things in as well. So you don't have to hold all of this and try and remember the whole thing. And the replay will be there, so you can always come back and have a little look and go, oh yeah. So yeah, we're going to do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely, like keep your eye on the group. We'll probably, I don't know if we'll tag everyone in those posts, but if you're active in that group, you will see those posts. And then the other piece is, I think that many of you know, I'm releasing the Keycode attunements, which it's like, this is like, we're not going into any of the theory behind it. You're just sitting in the energy of it. There's 6-minute long song transmissions. There was no AI used to create these songs. You know, I'm a musician. I don't believe in using AI in music. These are the result of a lot of contemplation and tuning into the energy and creating these soundscapes from that, but also using the actual hexagrams so that we've got 64 unique pieces of music for you to attune to, and that's free. So I think what we'll do is when we're posting, right? So we'll post for either today or tomorrow for Keycode 49, because that's what we're working with. When we post for 30, we'll link the soundtrack also to it so that you guys can access that. And that's
It
it. Thank
blows my
you.
mind that
Yeah.
you can even do that because I'm not a musician. So I just think, wow, why would you even start with that? But like, I suppose with the energies and the frequencies and the sound, it's everything is energy, isn't it? And that's
It's
what we're
all
all working with. It's all energy, it's just different levels.
It's all energy. And I will tell you, I completely burnt out after I finished that project. Didn't produce music again for like a year and a half. I'm like, I'm not touching any more music that way. So, because it took so much out of me. And, a lesson in boundaries, personal boundaries, commitments, that kind of a thing. But that's okay. I'm so proud of that body of work because I really, like, I use it all the time when I'm working with a different key code. So,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm gonna tune in and listen. Everyone is saying thank you. So thank you for
Thank you.
listening. If you are watching on replay as well, we will come back and we will check the comments. And if you have any questions or anything you'd maybe like us to, we're kind of evolving, aren't we? What we're going to do each month.
Yeah.
So let us know how you found it.
Yeah. Yes, please. And tag us in the comments so we don't miss them. Right. So, okay, my friends. Love you. Have a beautiful month. You'll see us in the group a little bit more. And thank you, Katie, for joining me. It's so fun that we got to do this together. All right. Have a beautiful rest of your day.